Hello, everybody. Other than being a diehard sports fan, I'm a diehard cartoon fan. I'm a self-admitted cartoon geek. I know pretty much anything and almost everything about classic cartoons and the wonderful actors who provide their voices. Legends such as Dawes Butler, Don Messick, Paul Winchell, of course the legendary Mel Blanc. And I was playing around on YouTube watching these videos. I think it started with videos featuring Lorenzo Music, of course, the legendary voice of Garfield for so many years. And then it turned to watching videos featuring Frank Welker, who's a voice legend is alright. He's, you name it, he's done it. And I was reading stuff online, and I was shocked and saddened to learn that one of my favorite voice actors for years, Joe Alaskey, passed away a few months ago. For those who don't know, Joe Alaskey was a staple on Warner Brothers, and especially Looney Tunes. So let me explain. I first heard of Joe Alaskey back when I was about five years old when Tiny Toons debuted. Of course, Tiny Toon Adventures was basically marked the beginning of the of Warner Brothers modern era cartoons. You know, it started with Tiny Toons, then came Animaniacs and Pinky the Brain and Freakazoid. You know, those shows, Animaniacs and Pinky the Brain and Freakazoid, those shows made up what was then known as the Kids Zoiding lineup that began in 1995. But Tiny Toon Adventures was part of the Fox Kids lineup back in the early 90s. Everybody remembers Fox Kids and Tiny Toons and all those other cartoons such as Bobby's World and even Air the Looney Tunes for a brief while. And Joe Alaskey voiced Plucky Duck. Of course, the Tiny Toons were all like kid versions of the Looney Tunes characters. Example: Buster Bunny is basically a young teenage, borderline teenage version of Bugs Bunny. And in the case of Plucky was a variation of Daffy Duck. Joe Alaskey voiced that character from the show's debut in 1990 till it ended in 1990, I think 1993, and there were some Tiny Toons specials. The last one being Night Googery, which came out in 1996. That was the last time he voiced Plucky. And of course, Plucky Duck had his own show, which he had on Saturday mornings, but that didn't last long. I remember that vividly because if I remember correctly, the Plucky Duck show aired, I think, after Bobby's World or a little bit before Eat the Cat on Saturday mornings. This was back when Saturday morning lineups were epic and great. Of course, Joe also he also replaced David Doyle, who passed away after his passing in '97. Joe replaced him as the voice of Grandpa Lou Pickles on Rugrats. He voiced that character from around '97 until the end of the original run, and then reprised that same role on the grown-up version, which came out in, I think it was 2001, kind of to celebrate Rugrats' 10 years on Nickelodeon. To me, Joe will always be best remembered for his recent voice work on the Looney Tunes. Joe, and I'm a diehard Looney Tunes fan. I love those cartoons. You can watch them over and over and over. For the last 20 years, he could be seen as he's known as one of the main successors to the legendary Mel Blanc on Looney Tunes. The successors included Jeff Bergman. He was the very first one. Jeff came in 1990, about a year or so after Mel passed away, and provided the Looney Tunes voices in the early 90s. And there was also Greg Burson, who passed away in 2008, voicing Bugs Bunny in the mid '90s, which included the 1995 cartoon Carrot Blanca, which was their spoof with Casablanca. Matter of fact, Joe played on that. I think that was Joe's first go around as Daffy Duck, Carrot Blanca. Joe voiced Sylvester and Tweety on the Sylvester Tweety Mysteries, which was also part of that original Kids W lineup in 1995. He'd actually voiced Sylvester for many years, including on Looney Tunes Back in Action. His main Looney Tunes character, of course, was Daffy Duck. Daffy. Oh, what can I say about Daffy? The once wacky character turned hard luck loser, for lack of a better word. And Joe provided that voice in several different projects. Carrot Blanca, the Looney Tunes Back in Action movie, which came out in '04. Some hardcore Looney Tunes fans might have these. There were two DVDs that came out. They were called Reality Check and Stranger Than Fiction. They had these original Looney Tunes cartoons. Those DVDs also came out that same year as the movie. And Joe played on that too. He voiced Daffy as Duck Dodgers on the Duck Dodgers series, which came out, I think, in 2004 or '05. It was on for a few years, every late Saturday morning, and later Friday night, a few years later. As I said, Joe also started voicing Bugs Bunny in the movie. I loved Joe's Bugs Bunny. Let me put it this way: Mel Blanc will forever be in a class on his own. There will never be another Mel Blanc. Nobody can touch him. Since in the 27 years almost that have passed since Mel Blanc left us, I think in this era, this post-Blanc era, I think Joe's Bugs was pretty much the best. I loved his Bugs Bunny. Plus, he was a born and native New Yorker, which I think made his Bugs Bunny impression so great and hilarious. Because Bugs had that how did Mel put it, the Brooklyn, the Bronx accent, and I always loved Joe's rendition of Bugs Bunny was the reason why I loved Looney Tunes Back in Action, even though it wasn't well received. But I loved it. I'm a hardcore Looney Tunes fan, and here's where I show my cartoon geekiness. I think that movie with Joe voicing both Bugs and Daffy, I think it marked the first time that the top two Looney Tunes characters was voiced by the same actor since Jeff Bergman. And of course, Jeff Bergman would duplicate that later on with the Looney Tunes show, which Joe played on, but not as Daffy. Jeff Bergman voiced Daffy, which kind of disappointed me because Joe Alaskey is Daffy Duck. He always will be Daffy Duck to me. His Daffy is the best after Mel's, of course. And Joe voiced Sylvester. I think that was the only character he voiced. Joe also voiced Marvin the Martian. I think on Duck Dodgers and probably on Looney Tunes. Well, not on the Looney Tunes show, but I think he voiced Marvin on the Looney Tunes show. Marvin's voice amused me. I imitated a lot. Well, this makes me very angry, very angry. But I'm glad I brought up Marvin to bring up the smile, because I've been down ever since I read this news. Like I said, Joe Alaskey was one of my favorites in the voice acting business. There'll never be another one. It's just I could listen to those Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny impressions for hours. It was that hilarious, and of course, it was part of my cartoon watching childhood with Tiny Toon Adventures as Plucky Duck, and It's so I'm just at a loss for words. His passing happened 3 months ago. It was on February 3rd that he left us at the age of 63. Far too young. Far too young. And as I said, definitely one of the greats. There will never be another one like Joe Alaskey. I don't think anyone could do Daffy like him. The way that voice sounded when I would watch the modern Daffy Duck material, especially Duck Dodgers, which I have on DVD, and I'm actually considering popping that in. I'm gonna actually consider popping that in later on. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. A wonderful talent. Hilarious. There'll never be another one. There'll never be another one like him. So that's my little tribute to the late great Joe Alaskey. This doesn't do it justice. He's provided so much to cartoon geeks like me. So with that I say, Joe Alaskey will be missed. Rest in peace.